What's going on, Master Duel fans? James Polk here. After a really long coverage of the Abyss actors, we can finally resume back in terms of some regular gameplay unless we come across something for the first time. And looking at this hand, I say it's something. Trade in Lava Golem. The support for Dark World. Of course, they are all about discarding themselves to do something, and then if they are being discarded by your opponent, they do something, courtesy of the fusion monster of Grapha for the changing of the effects. So, the newer Dark World cards, keyword newer Dark World cards. If I miss out on any, let me know in the comments below. Parl, I believe he is one of those. Upon discarded by a card effect, target one Dark World monster in graveyard that isn't Parl, special it to either field, then, upon discarded from hand to graveyard by your opponent's card effect, special summon it to either field one of your Fiend monsters that is banished or in your hand or graveyard. And then the effect of Parl is once. Genta, Gateman of the Dark World. Yep, Genta, Gateman of Dark World. Special summon once per turn, and then you can discard this, add one, the Gates of Dark World from deck to your hand. So basically, this is the Harpy Queen of Dark World. If this card is banished, and you control a Dark World card, spell trap included, free special discard. Rainbow over King of Dark World. He's one of the newer ones for sure. Special summon this card from your graveyard by returning one level 7 or lower Dark World monster you control to the hand. If this card is discarded to the graveyard by card effect, add one level 5 or higher Dark World monster from deck to hand that isn't over King of Dark World. Then, if it's upon being discarded off from your opponent's card, free special 1 level 4 or lower Dark World from deck or graveyard to either field. And then as for newer Dark World cards, if we see any, for spells and traps, Dark World Archives. During your main phase, discard one Dark World, and if you do, Dark World monsters you currently control gain attack equal to the level discarded times 100 until the end of this turn. If a monster whose original type is Fiend is discarded because of a Dark World card or opponent's card effect, even during the damage step, discard one, draw two. Seems pretty nice. And it is each effect once. I believe Dark World Puppetry is one of the newer ones. Target up to 3 cards in any graveyards, banish them. Then discard one Fiend monster, so DD Crow with a side of a Fiend discard. During your main phase, accept the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard, breakthrough skill clause. Target one of your banished Fiend monsters, add it back to your hand. And then hard activation of Puppetry once. Or activate one per turn. Dark World Accession. During the main phase, perform a fusion summon of a Fiend fusion monster not just Dark Worlds, but Fiend Fusion monster in general from your extra deck by banishing materials mentioned on it from your field or graveyard. If fusion summoning a Dark World monster this way, you can also discard monsters as material, which is crazy. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can add this from graveyard to your hand and then discard one Dark World monster, each effect of accession once. Dark World Punishment. And of course, as a counter trap, that means it has a built-in negate. When a monster's more than one will be normal or special, negate the summon, never hit the field, and if you do, destroy that monster's more than one, then discard one Fiend monster. If a Dark World monster's more than one you control will be killed by battle or opponent's card effect, banishes from graveyard instead. So, built-in Solemn Warning for Dark Worlds and technically built-in Solemn Warning for Fiends and Saving Grace. And I also never even noticed that the Accession is a quick play spell, which is amazing. As for Grapha, Dragon Overlord of Dark World, requires Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, and one Dark Monster. When your opponent activates a monster effect or a normal spell trap while you have cards in your hand, as a quick effect, activate this. The activated effect becomes your opponent discards one card. Context is, whatever card you play, it gets changed to you discard one card from your opponent's hand, just so that Dark Worlds get the bonus effects. And it is, I believe it is once per turn. Yep, the effect is once per turn. If this fusion summon card in its owner's control leaves the field that isn't the extra deck because of an opponent's card effect, special one Grapha, Dragon Lord of Dark World, that is banished or in your graveyard, then each player with a hand discard one card. And that is that for every newer Dark World card. So Genta starts off fresh, getting the gates. Gates, trigger, banish Genta, discarding Dark Necrofear. Astral Karibo, reveal Dugaris. 2 to get it for Dugaris. And due to Astral Karibo as a material, Dugaris cannot be killed by battle or card effects. Dugaris, draw 2, discard 1. Salamander Catalyzer, one of the newer cards off from this set. Reveal this card, one Fiend in your hand, special summon one of them, and discard the other. When a monster gets killed by battle involving your Fiend monster while this card is in your graveyard, add this to your hand. Each effect once. Dark World Dealings. Discarded my trade-in, and I discard my Formal because it literally does nothing in this situation as a turn 1. Activate another gates. Banish Astral Karibo. Banish or discard Salamander. Draw 1, set 1. Normal Cutia. There's the Dogmatica Punishment. Toss out Grapha. Gets the Coolia. And then the opponent knows I have too many plays to make with the rest of his hand. And this next matchup, this hand, we got a lot of work to do. Normal Cutia, getting Coolia. Coolia scaled. Dreamia Special, the return of Grand Solfachord Musea. Link to Light Fairy 1900 attack. During your main phase, add one Pendulum monster from hand or extra deck face up, and one face up Pendulum monster from extra deck to hand, as long as one of them has an even scale and the other one has an odd scale. Basically, you're trading scales. And then when you Pendulum summon a Solfachord Pendulum, or when you Pendulum summon a Solfachord monsters, target one of them, add one Solfachord Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand whose level equals the pendulum scale of that monster. Each effective Musea once. Trade scales between Fancia Cutia. Scales fixed. 1 and 8. 2 through 7. Pendulum Shoken 3. Musea. Target Fancia for Gracia. Fancia getting Angelia tossed out, and Appaloosa for 4. Labyrinth, set, normal Ariane. Send away Dogmatica Punishment for Ariana. Get the Lady. Lady in hand. Appaloosa negates. Pendulum Shogun, Angelia Fancia, Elitia Gracia, and another Fancia. Elitia Compulse, Gracia search for a spell trap. Fancia, toss out Coolia, Harmonia, get the Coolia back. Tribute to 2. Whoa! For Coolia, field spell. I believe field spell killed Ariana, and then that was game. And this next matchup, this hand, we're going crazy. Okay, so Despias is what I'm coming across. Normal Aluber, get the Theater field spell. Theater triggers. Yep, the typical average Despia with the Edgin chain specifically. So show me Masquerade the Blazing Dragon. Chain and Dramaturge. Getting Fright for Patchwork. Activate the Patchwork. Poly. Edgem Chain again. Set. Poly. Double Masquerade. This is not good. And another set. Top Deck Impermanence. Paid my 12. Paid my 6 for chalicing to shut off both Masquerades. Normal Cutia. There's the impermanence of his own. Elegance. Complete the scale by tossing out Gracia. Dreamia, special. 2 together for Musea. Scales 1 and 8, 2 through 7. Dreamia, Gracia, Pendulum Shogun. Musea, target Dreamia for Butia. Gracia attempted to get the search, but impermanence of his own as well. Talk about a battle full of negates. Take away one of the Masquerades for Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Slamming down Masquerade. Aluber attempts to come back. Underworld Goddess negates. Masquerade comes back. And Despia players scoot because Underworld Goddess is too tough to be dealt with. And this next matchup, this hand, it's a bit awkward. Set 4 back row and a monster set. Evenly matched. Solemn Judgment. Normal Cutia. Cutia getting Coolia and 2 set. There's the punishment. Followed by Big Welcome as 2. For Ariana, return to set. Entis toss out to destroy Cutia. Ariana for search. Entis killing off Cosmic Cyclone. Getting the field spell. Field spell of Labyrinth. Big Welcome. Return Ariana. Normal Ariana. Fires out the Imperm to prevent the search. Ariana for 16. Field spell. Pick 1 back up. Cutia scale. Duelist Alliance for Pendulum Treasure. Now, if you ain't familiar about Pendulum Treasure, which is one of the cards I crafted for the challenge that you guys told me to do for Solfachord in terms of what the community is voting for. So what Pendulum Treasure does is add 1 Pendulum monster from deck to your extra deck face up. So most cases, Heavy Metal Foe, Electromite. Electromite the Elitia. Scale the Coolia. Pendulum Shogun Elitia, return to set. Normal Cutia. For Dreamia. Free special. Fix the scale. Destroy the set. And then Labyrinth players scooped. And last but not least on this first half of the event, looking at this hand, up against Labyrinth apparently. So, Stovey Torby, discard Ghastly for the field spell. Set 3, field spell triggers. And by the way, just so you guys know, this was a mistake about placing the Elegance in the outside corners, knowing that I have Butia and Coolia in hand to complete the scale. But because I placed Elegance on the Pendulum scale, I am forced to use the first effect, which is place a Solfachord Pendulum from deck to scale. But you know what? We can still fix all of this. Welcome Labyrinth as Chain 2. Special Lady, Scale Cutia, Duelist Alliance for Pendulum Treasure, Scale to Coolia, Pendulum Treasure, toss out Angelia, Extra Pendulum. Now, as for Extra Pendulum, during your main phase this turn, put up a Pendulum summon of a monsters or from your extra deck only in addition to your Pendulum summon. Pendulum Shogun number 1. Angelia, Butia. 2 together for Musea. Pendulum Shogun number 2. Angelia, Butia. Musea. Target Butia for Dreamia. Dreamia. Butia. Target field spell only for some reason. And it's Lady. I forgot that it's Lady. Okay, so here's the hindsight moment that this got me tilted in any situation. I thought that when my opponent played Welcome Labyrinth, I thought for sure he was gonna put up Lovely instead of Lady. But because that's Lady, opponent has set cards, which means Lady is not dying by effects or couldn't be targeted. So as a result, I end up taking some damage. And because Lady is being protected in any situation, we're going to find an alternative maneuver to get rid of Lady. Use all 5. The return of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Set and pass. Pendulum Shogun. Butia, Angelia. Angelia over Stovey Torby. Butia attacks. Storming activates. Butia, target Storm. Solfachord's back to hand. Storming gets banished. Field spell is 1. Stovey Torby 2. Welcome Labyrinth as 3 to reset. The return of Lady once again, and it is the 2 Battle of Behemoths. Duelist Alliance for Pendulum Reborn, and let the Behemoth battle begins. Welcome Labyrinth. In response, Solfachord Formal. Shuffle back Dreamia, special the Lovely. Underworld Goddess is not dying due to its own effect. Lovely, reset button. The 2 3000 monsters clash, and Lovely 29. Pendulum Shogun. Butia, Angelia, Fantia. Welcome for Lady. Field spell, kill the 8 scale. Pendulum Reborn, and there's the Lady trigger. And Butia, target Lovely. Setting big welcome off from Lady. Butia search. Get the last Coolia out, so that way we cannot brick on this one. Now, I was contemplating on Butia attacking Lovely, because my theory is this. Without the outside scale of more than 1, like scale 8 or like scale 7 or whatever, without both scales for me to deal with, there's no point of me triggering Butia's effect. So I decided to pass on this. Fantia Electromites the Gracia, tribute the 2 for Coolia, negate the Lovely, and field spell until the end of the opponent's turn. Big welcome. Butia, target Lovely. Now that we don't have the even scale, we are forced to target a monster, and what do you know? Successfully banished the Lovely Labyrinth. So big welcome fetches out Ariana. Ariana, Stovey Torby. Welcome Labyrinth. reset button, special summon, Ariana, get Ariane. Normal Ariane, Nightmare Unicorn, cards in hand, discards Backjack, shuffle back Coolia, Backjack rearranges. Well, what do you know? Turns out Butia's El Shaddai construct type of an effect still can be used even if I have the lowest scale. So basically, that pretty much meant that I should have attacked Lovely when this first happened, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna go calm and smooth and see where this is gonna go for the rest of the duel. So it turns out I only need the lowest scale for Butia's effect to work. Two together. Unchained Abomination. Abomination. Kill the one scale of Coolia. Angelia. There's the Welcome Labyrinth. Gets the Ariana out. Field spell kills it. Ariana. Stovey Torby special. Getting Coup Clock. Evenly matched. Top deck. Big Welcome Labyrinth. Return Stovey Torby. Stovey Torby. Discard Chandraglier. Backjack. Attempt to flip up the next card for the set. That would be Lady. Setting Fair Welcome. Wait. Did my opponent scoop? The Labyrinth player timed out? Wow. The Labyrinth player timed out. Well, even though that the Labyrinth player was in a far ahead game state, let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, time is the essence of dueling. And as for the deck list, when it comes to Solfachord, this is the list that I have up for you guys because I already knew for that fact that my representation of matches the most obviously is going to be infested with Labyrinth. So what I decided to do on my intake is have real back row removal ready to go. And I decided not to play board wipes for this format because some cards do have a saving grace ability. And with that being said, let us jump into this deck profile for you guys. 3 Cutia, 3 Dreamia. Anyone can play 2 or 3, but I find 3 can be really good as a late game setup. 1 for scale and 2 for being monsters. 3 Elitia, 3 Fancia. Then there's Gracia, Angelia, Butia, and 2 Coolia. One of the Elitias. This should have been 2 Elitia because her compulsory effect is a once per turn. But at the same time, the reason why 3 Elitia specifically is because in a late game setup is where if you have a even scale, you don't have to worry about taking any battle damage involving your Solfachord pendulums in any way. So that's that for my Solfachord monsters. And if there's any change to it, one of the Elitias should have been at 2 because the compulsory is hard ones. And then 3 Duelist Alliance with my 3 pendulum targets. Extra Pendulum, Pendulum Treasure, and Pendulum Reborn. As well as a copy of Tactics. Tactics came up in a very rare instance to either draw me extra cards, but at the same time you have the 3 Elegants doing this, or take monsters just so I can just turn the tide, swing with it, and just win the game from there on out with it. And then 3 Elegants, as mentioned from before. Most of the time when it comes to Elegants, I usually tend to complete the scale. And then if I know full well that my opponent has evenly in their hand, as long as I have a odd and even scale, doesn't gotta be Solfachord scales, you could just pretty much go pot of greed to help you avoid evenly match. So that's already less cards on your side of the field. 1 Solfachord scale, most of the time when it comes to scale, is to return one of the scales to the hand and then place one of the pendulums from extra deck to the scale, just so that you are guaranteed to go wide range of certain levels in terms of pendulum summon wise. And then field spell come in clutch whenever it's needed. Like if I already have the field spell can just literally pick up any one of the Solfachards as my missing key pieces. 2 Forbidden Chalice, this card has served me well. Ignite Reload, only one of it. And it's just to fix the brick hands. And it's just so that if I have one of the most weird hands where I take the bad cards out and have the good cards in hand, you should be able to play the game all calm and smooth. And then 2 Cosmic Cyclones. And before anyone in the comments tell me, why aren't you playing Wavering Eyes? It is because I never saw the point of seeing Wavering Eyes against most decks that isn't Pendulum decks. And it's basically where if I cannot capitalize in any representation matchups involving pendulums, then there was no point of me playing Wavering Eyes at all unless it's pendulum mirror matches in general. And the representation of seeing pendulum monsters, if I ever go against one, is a very, very small chance. Hence why I don't play Wavering Eyes on this list. Pendulum Reborn, as mentioned, offering the Duelist Alliance targets. 2 D barriers. Only 2, not 3. It is because the whole representation matches were infested with Labyrinth, but D barrier came in clutch against Despia decks the most throughout this whole entire event. 2 evenly matched, triple copies of Infinite Impermanence, 1 Musica, and 1 Formal. Formal came up in terms of protecting everything by specific effects, not everything, but specific effects. And then Musica, this card did not come up at all, but it's only there because it's for a name. And then extra deck, about which cards were made throughout the course of the whole entire first half of the event. Underworld Goddess, of the closed world, Appaloosa, Boa the Goddess, Trickstar Foxglove Witch, and 2 copies of Musea, as well as Nightmare Phoenix. So 6 of these extra deck monsters were made and all have their very own niche scenarios. Musea, on the other hand, is where if you have extra pendulum and a really good hand, you are able to make Appaloosa turn 1 like it's meant to do with just 4 negates. And then the rest of the extra deck that isn't made, Herald of Pure Light, 2 level 2s, and it's for the 2 Dreamias. The Humming, it is for the 3 Elitias. Pure Light recurs you a monster because Lovely Labyrinth is a card, and if they keep killing your monsters from your hand at random, Pure Light can place things back in terms of having your hand fixed. Humming is meant for direct attacks, which is super nice. Fairy Cheer Girl, it is for your draw power, and 2 Fancias is what it takes to make it. Same goes for Minerva and Babushka. Herald of Mirage Lights, if you're wondering of how I can put this out with the same type and attributes, it's basically 2 copies of every card I play as a 3 of most of the time to make Mirage Lights, just so that we get a spell trap negate. But otherwise, this card hasn't come up at all, which is unfortunate. And then Trickstar Holly Angel, if you're wondering about the Holly Angel, Foxglove Witch's destruction effect. First chance this Link Summon Foxglove Witch gets killed, special 1 Link 2 or lower Trickstar from your extra deck, then burn 200 to your opponent for each card they control. So it's meant for burning late game setup, and this is meant to push the leftover damage if possible. And with that being said, this is the fairy side of Solfachord. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and if you haven't already, smash the notification bell to keep yourself constantly updated, and we'll catch you guys next time.